Hello, the game has started. It's me to go first. An unbalanced track, only one vowel. But I think that's sufficient to play through this. So I can play frap. It does leave double T, but the alternative would be frat for a lower score. So I'm going with this. Well, certainly a balanced track and a good scoring tile in the J. Jot would leave a decent rack leave of tone. R only takes an E underneath it. Now frap does take an E, so I've got Joe in column 10. What else do I have? N-O-T-T isn't a great leave. I think Jotto isn't good, but it may be. Now my J can go above the A, so I could play Jot in row G, but I suspect many of my options are going to be interrupted by opponent, and they are rather. So trad takes an S in front, takes an E and an S afterwards, so I do have Joe in a couple of spots. Now Joe takes an S in front. So what's best? Well, even though it takes an S in front, so does trad. So I'm not setting up a 7-letter S lane. This is 36 points, which is good. Just wondering about playing Jotto. Let me check Jotto. I don't think it's good. And it's not great. I can discard that thought. I don't think I can split up the duplicate T's and play the J. I am going with this. And I draw another scoring tile in the X. I've got Oxo and Toxin and Ticks on my rack. Close to non-toxic, but that's only one T. Column 11 quite hot because of the vowels that can go next to the J, and also the limited opportunities elsewhere. However, if opponent does play in column 11, there are likely to be column 12 opportunities. Unless a C is played, of course, which only takes an H after it. So do I have anything which goes after J, A? Well, just the I. Let me see what this scores. I have iron for 19, providing very little. If I draw an E, I've got next. N not useful for opponent. Cab does take an S in front. Wow, the lack of an E is problematic, or rather would be particularly useful because of the trade hook. I would have taxi cab with an A. Gosh, these duplicate T's have stayed with me since the beginning. Aha, I can see a way of splitting them up. I have fixed down here for 30. Pretty poor rack leave, but the O's go well to the left, to the left of the X, not to the left of the T. So is this the play? I think it probably is. There's not too many alternative options to consider. I am going with this. Great, I don't add to my collection of O's, but I no longer have a scoring tile, and I also do not have a bingo-y rack. I would have tattooing through T and I. They would need to be split up though, so that's not going to happen. So I have goat in column 5. What about, well, goat also plays in column 12, so playing fixed has provided spots on both sides of the board, so I can certainly play through this. Goat would leave a rack leave of NOT, which is not particularly exciting, but not dreadful either. Fixed does not take anything after it. So if both spots remain available, which is best? 22 for goat in column 12. 26 in column 5. So column 5 does look better. Fixed is another example of if opponent plays in column 5, there may well be laddering or stacking opportunities in column 4. Not that that really worked in respect of cab. Now, is opponent sitting there with an S? He played trad, which takes an S in front, and cab, which also does. Yes, he does. Okay, so Okiest for 70. Nice bingo. Both of my identified spots remain available. I've got Gook in column 8. But the K is a blank, so that's only 12 points. Pretty poor. Now, am I absolutely sure I don't have a bingo? What about the P? No. T? No. So this is what I'm thinking of. Goat for 26. Wow, this looks jolly close to a bingo. Certainly all bingo-y tiles. However, I'm not seeing a 7. What about the P? Nope, not seeing anything there. What about AT? Okay, well that's gone. 32 points for opponent. Okiest, I don't think takes anything in front. Hox takes nothing in front. Do I have a 6-letter extension to trad? No. So, what about JA? Just jar can go there. So I have ratto or rota. 20 points, pretty lame score. I hope I'm not missing a 7 with this rack. Through an I would have aeration. Let me just put this back because there is this floating T. I have aero as a prefix with TAN, so aeronaut through a U. So this rack plus a T, not seeing anything. This rack plus a P. All of my vowels go to the right of the D. No, not seeing anything. Okay. So, I really don't like this play. I feel Hasty would be playing something a little bit better. 20, such a small number of points. But I can't get value from the scoring tiles on the board, or rather, the only spot to do so is where I am at the moment with J and B. So why don't I play Roan down here? Avoids placing a vowel next to a premium square, and 8 feels better than AEN. Yeah, only 1 T to come and 5 Ns. So this is certainly better. I'm going with this. Wow. Not great from a bingo perspective, but it is good from a scoring perspective with K and Y. Just 4 points between us. This could go either way. And opponent, well, they bingoed, and since then have just played Hoy, so difficult to infer anything about their current rack. Now, quite tempting to play off K and Y for the score, but how do I avoid keeping a lot of vowels, which will then leave me in vowel trouble next turn? I don't have an O for going in front of the K, so I can't utilise both of these double letter squares. Well, looks like opponent's also struggling with vowels. So what to do here. K and Y don't go either side of O. Neither goes under the U. Y goes above the U. So the best I can do above Fujio is key. For 35 points, setting up a pretty hot spot in row A. O goes in front of K. Multiple letters go in front of F. Multiple letters go in front of YU. And this is a shocking rack leave. So this is a benchmark 35-point play. How can I do better? Now, AKA is good. I have a Y for going next to the N. Just wondering if Yakat is good. What am I confusing that with? Let's see if this stays on, because the score is good and the rack leave is good. Ah, and it's not good. What a shame. I'm thinking about a word for falconry training, but it's obviously not Yakat. No, it's not coming to me. 12 minutes on my clock. Wow, what a tricky rack. Joey is good. So I could play Yank for 30. This rack leave could be very good if I draw all consonants. It's not a disaster because I am keeping the T. It's not providing anything for opponent unless they've got an S. In any event, I trail, so an S lane could be helpful for me. If either of us bingos in column 14, there'll be opportunities in column 15. So this isn't massively dangerous, and a 7-letter S bingo would not get doubled unless it plays downwards. This is 30 points. Is this the play? I'm still trying to think of the falconry term. Yakar, I think. Yeah, not the T. Yeah, I am going with this. Well, non-bingo. The bingos seem to have just eluded me, or I'm missing them. F, U and G, not particularly useful. Bingo-y floaters. I lead by 6, so this isn't a lost game, but still 1 blank to come and 3 S's. Opponent might infer that I have an S, wrongly. Now, poo is valid, so I have poo in column 6. So I could play paver, and V under the triple word square would stop opponent putting a tile there. I would be opening a lane, but that's not terrible. It would score decently, probably close to 30 points. I could play parev, which would limit what could go above parev to get tripled, because nothing goes in front of V or poo. So it would just be three-letter words. Kill him. Great, just 22 for opponent. So this is what I'm thinking of, parev. And parev scores more because the V gets tripled. This is 35 points. This is a good rack leave. Parev takes an E. Yeah, just 22 for opponent. I'm turning over tiles, which is good, with S's and blanks to come. And I dodge the blanks and the S's and collect a handful of N's to accompany the U and the V. So, what am I going to do here? I have Vaunt on my rack. Nowhere for that. I have a 20-point lead, which is pretty slender. Okius took out the S front hook for trad. T still available as a bingo floater. This rack is a long way away from a bingo. Untan is good. I'd like to do something about these duplicate ends. Still 2 to come as well. Great, just 30 points for opponent. So, what am I going to do? Poon is good. Ah, well, there's a spot for Vaunt here, isn't there? Is Poon good? I think it is. It's Poonar, which isn't good. 24 points is poor, but the rack was atrocious, so I'm happy with that. I'm glad to be turning over 5 tiles. There's no way I can avoid the S's and the blanks for 2 successive moves. I am going with this. And I draw an S. Fantastic. But do I have a bingo? I don't think I do. Through an I would have Nescient. Oh, wow. Eye of Killim just in the wrong spot. Does Nescient have an anagram? Well, not that is coming to mind. Just 1A to come for Avaunt. I lead by 12, which is practically nothing. I would have Sentence onto an E, or through an E. So what about the available floaters? I've only seen Nescient through an I, and that doesn't fit. Wow, only 12 points, and opponent setting up a lane. That is ominous. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 minutes on my clock. Li is a pair of tiles. So, well, sentinels with those tiles, I think. And what about OM? No. Well, this is a tricky rack to deal with. And it's mainly because of this duplicate N. There are now 2 S-letter lanes. But it doesn't feel great just playing off a solitary N. I'm going to be getting practically nothing. It's not a move I think Hasty would do. I don't have a vowel for going next to IT, otherwise Coat is good and I could have a column 3 play. 9 minutes on my clock. Jar takes a few floaters, but not an N. Killim only takes an S after it. No vowels for going next to L. Wow, so even if I wanted to turn over tiles, not seeing how to do that. This is the last T. Let me count the remaining vowels. Wow, so many E's to come. 13 out of 32, so it's slightly vowel dry, but a lot of E's to come, so I can certainly burn one of them. No more C's. 8 minutes on my clock. What about doing this? Any for 13. I'm not bothered about 5-letter N plays because scoring tiles can't go on the double letter. Generally, possibly a Y could. This is a decent rack lead that goes well with any vowel. But that's only 13 points. $16 by playing here. And Nu only takes a G, 1 G to come. I'm going with, well, am I? This is just a better play. Is it the best? Yeah, I am going with this. Wow, I draw 2 E's. Centices through an S. What about L-I? No. Wow, 43 for opponent. They go into a good lead. I got 16. I just don't want to have a long trail of getting crappy scores in the teens hoping for a bingo while opponent zooms off. 7 minutes on my clock, 20 tiles in the bag. Now, are there any floaters I haven't considered? The Vaunt front hook is not available, apart from 9-letter plays using EF. How many N's to come? 2. Still all these E's, and triplicate E is not particularly helpful. E is far better when it's used with other vowels. £15. I'm minded to do this. There is still 2 7-letter S lanes, and this is decent. I am going with this. Am I? Yes. Okay, well, I don't draw vowels. I do draw the non-bingo-y W and a duplicate S. But I only trail by 12, so definitely very much in the game. So where can I get rid of the W? Gosh, both of us must be so close to a bingo. I don't want to play WE because it's my last vowel, although there are the vowels to come. Let me count the remaining vowels. 9 out of 23. I think I was too quick to play off both E's. Anyway, that's the past. What am I going to do? If I want to hang on to my E, where are the vowels on the board? Wow, not very many. Wow, what about doing this? What about doing this for 13? Because was only takes a T in front and I've got the last T. Wow. Only 13 points, but the rack leaves decent, and I've got a hook which can only be used by this T or the blank. I'm going with this, and I still dodge vowels. This is really painful since that move 2 moves ago where I played off 2 vowels. I think I just had sight on all the remaining E's rather than the overall quantity of vowels. And the opponent must be holding on to a couple, given his recent plays. And in fact, when he only played an I, it suggests he's got a lot of vowels. Any bingos in row N or column 14 are not going to be creating floaters for bingo, so I think I'm in trouble even though I trail by 5. Maybe the T hook will get me out of jail. Yarak, Y-A-R-A-K, that is the play I was thinking of when I played K-at. Okay, great, just 21 for opponent. Four minutes on my clock, 13 tiles to come. I want to hang on to my vowel, I think I have to. So I can play Arc for 10. Leaving a decent rack leave. If I draw any vowel, I must be jolly close to a bingo. Well, I draw the Y. I have sternly. Oh, wow, that doesn't benefit from the T hook for was, but it does play in row N because Loy is good. I don't think Yankee is good with a Y. I think that's double E. And sternly doesn't play down column 14. So it's just row N. And given a choice between row N and column 14, surely column 14 is preferable. Great, just 3 points for opponent. 10 minutes on my clock. Well, I wish. 4 minutes on my clock. 10 tiles left, that's what I meant to say. So, great. 4 minutes on my clock, 10 tiles left. I have sternly in row N. Is there really no anagram of sternly? Don't think so. Are there any other options to consider? No, this is the only place it goes. So here we go, sternly for 70. Wow, what a pick, super balanced. And the Q still to come. That might stop opponent from bingoing. My lead only 50. But if opponent bingos, he's got the Q. Now, do I have a back-to-back bingo? If I do, it may play in row O. But nothing has come to mind. Mandible through a B. Wow, opponent could get a big score in column 8 with the Q, Q-U-E. Blank. Interesting. So, super balanced rack, 3 vowels. So it's better than a random pick. Its opponent who's got 10 minutes on their clock. Zoe takes an S, still 1 S to come, so that's a hot spot. Opponent could win without bingoing. Loy only takes an S. I'm struggling to see any spots on the board for me. I do have an A for Avant. And I mention that simply as a possibility for scoring. If opponent doesn't bingo, I may have two moves. And if I have 2 moves, if I can get more than 20 on each, I could scrape home. Now, if opponent leaves sternly alone, I surely have opportunities down here. But I don't want to leave myself without any vowels. So, possibly Mien, 27 points. R only takes an E. So I have AME, but that's burning 2 vowels. So Yank is the only S bingo. 9 minutes on opponent's clock. Do I have any jar hooks, which would then interrupt a Yank bingo? Jarl is good. And oboe takes, well, an L and an E. If I play Jarl, then it would need to be an E for oboe, so the best I could do there is ale, which would stop Yank bingos, but not close the door fully. Oh wow, 120 points for opponent. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. Wonder why it took that long for it to come down. So I now trail by 70. I need a bingo to win. That's not going to happen. I don't think there are any floaters on this board. 3 minutes on my clock. Wow. A Q bingo with a 3-tile overlap. Absolutely brutal. So is opponent going out with ENE? Nay is good. Yeah, ENE in row 12. Does opponent have a second spot? Not sure. They do. So they have ENE in row C. Is that it? No, Nini in column 10. So they are going out. I've got 1 go. Or they should be going out. Just checking I haven't overlooked any floaters. This is a pretty decent 7-letter set. OMLI, no O for Arco. Okay, so what's the best I can do down here? I have Amen, which is going to create a knee spot, which scores more, but that's 21 points. What about Amend? Still providing even more points for opponent. What about Admen? Now, I can't avoid giving opponent a spot if I play there. What about ALE? 22 points. Giving opponent a lot of count back. Well, the game is lost, so this may not be best, but I am minded to... I might as well use my time. 1 minute on my clock. Is there really nowhere better? MES is good. £19 points. Nothing goes after. Ah, well, Omar is good. So what about playing Dam for 23? Yeah, and then opponent doesn't. You can't use that at all. Yeah, I am going with this. And opponent with ENE, a choice of places to go out. What if opponent misses all of them? Can I go out with Lie? I have Liar in column 9. I have Vile in column 3, and I have 29 seconds, so loads of time. Wow, brutal. Quiches for 120 points. Unbelievable. But even without Sternly, opponent would have had quiches in 2 spots on the board. But maybe if he'd played in column 14, the match would have been closer. So 8 minutes for opponent to find their best out. Where have they gone? Ian for 8. And the final score, 366 for me, 426 for opponent, a winning margin of 60 points, so well done to opponent. Let's see what I missed. Wow, what a game. All turning on that quiches bingo, super tight up until that point. It was me to go first, Pratt keeping the F, or Frapp burning the F and keeping the more bingo-y T. Very little to choose between those. Opponent plays Trad. Jeton, that's nice. F6 through the T. Yep, keeping OT. What do? I play Joe for more points, keeping NOTT. I expect those moves are pretty close. Now, this looks useful. And a missed bingo. Abactor, A11. Very difficult one to see, but it was there. And opponent plays Cab for 27. Retaining the blank. My rack, and I play Fixed for 30, and that looks fine. Wow, what a beautiful rack. Choice of bingos, plays Okiest. Now, Goat, I5, that was my play. So not a great rack for opponent. Plays Hoy. And phew, no missed bingo here. I felt there may be one. And all of these scores are pretty lame. What do? Gosh, I play Roan for 20, and it was precisely this move where I felt Hasty would have managed to come up with a 30-point play or high 20s play, but not the case. And yeah, I think Roan is fine. Not a great rack for opponent, but sorts it out in one with Fujio. M2. Hoik and Goatee are good, so 42 points available. What do? I play Yank for 30. Yeah, so 12-point difference, and I play off Yak, keeping AA ET. So my rack leave is better than the one after Takey. I'm also retaining a T, but scoring 12 points less. Yeah, I think Takey is a better play, but not massively so. Horrible rack for opponent. Plays Kill Him. And I have Parev for 35, which looks fine. Opponent's rack plays Bud. And now I have this horror show. But look at this, just 10 points between us, and it was like this for most of the game. D1 Vachu, that's nice for 35, but the rack leave's horrendous. So I prefer Vaunt keeping just 2 ends, even though there's an 11-point difference. That third end is pretty killing, and there is still more to come. Opponent plays low, could have got 46 points for Wu Sal. Now, I had a couple of tricky racks which were super close to a bingo. I don't have one, and these are rack-wrecking plays for scores in the 20s. So what do? I play EN for 16, keeping a decent rack leave, so I like my play. K3 Catene, putting an E in the middle of row O, I don't think is a better play. Now, opponent's rack, plays Zo. And here we go, and this is where I make the move which I rue of playing off 2 E's. J8, ENS, trade and Joey's for 28 points. Again, this is a move where a lot of the plays burn the S, but none of the scores are above 25 apart from that first one. And this is an S-friendly board with Yanks and Loz available. So my move, I think, does have some merit. Maybe just playing Re rather than ERE. Keeping Centese, maybe that would have been the play. Gosh, opponent has Q with you for quite a while. Plays Vi. Now I have 2 S's, so I can certainly burn 1. N10, Wetslot and Killims. Keeping no vowels, only 30 points. Yeah, I play Was for what appears to be a lot less, but I'm keeping a better rack leave and I'm setting up a fairly selfish column 1 bingo lane. Opponent can only use that with the blank, which is still in the bag. Opponent's rack, he hangs on to the QU combo, plays U, and I draw no vowels. Trailing by 20. I play Arc for 10. N1. Hoist is good. Yeah, well, I think 40 points. Very tricky, because Hoist takes an S and there's an S and a blank unseen. But even so, 40 points is a lot. What am I keeping after Arc? I'm keeping a very good rack leave. Rents is superb. So I think those moves are super close. Opponent plays just the G. And here we go. Oh, wow. 2 spots. Ouch. N3 because of Zoes and Hoist. If I'd played Sternly here, then opponent would have been forced to play quiches in column 14. Wow. And I looked for a second spot for Sternly, but it was 3 squares to the left, Sternly, ending in 4 consonants, would have limited what opponent could play under it in row O. And if opponent had then played quiches in column 14, I might have had a big play, or a big-ish play in one of the outer columns, and I'd have scored 14 more points. Okay, so here we go. This is opponent's amazing rack, which he'd waited for very patiently. Plays quiches for 120, also had quashi and quashi. Hakes, yeah, none of these would have played under Sternly if it had been played to the left. So a great spot. Easy to overlook 3-tile overlaps. Now, my final rack, I don't have a bingo. J14, Nidal, that's nice. Although it would have set up knee and knee. Knee and een and in, rather. So I played Dam for 23. And opponent goes out with een. So, what a game. What an absolutely amazing battle, and I felt both of us were jolly close to a bingo about 2/3 of the way through, and we were neck and neck, and then we both did get our bingos down. However, mine was misplaced, and opponent was able to capitalise with a 120-point hammer blow with quiches, which was an excellent spot. So absolutely well done to opponent for spotting that. No triples in this game. They come up, well, not completely infrequently, but they are quite a rarity. And for the first time ever in my entire Scrabble playing life, in a game last night against Hastybot, I managed 2 triples in the same game, and I have never achieved that that feat before, so absolutely delighted with that, and I'll leave you with a screenshot of the finished board. Back to this game, many congratulations to opponent on their victory. I hope you enjoyed watching that game. Like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you next time.